Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I want to do a green eyeshadow look, really thinking about forest and olivey greens. One of you requested this and I feel like I haven't done enough green eyeshadow looks here. I have a couple palettes in front of me, one of which is the Smoke Sessions from Melts. This has more of the kind of cooler foresty greens. And then I do have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Barely Basic palette. And this has more of the warmer olivey greens. I'm probably going to be delving back and forth between these two. I also have a couple new products that got sent my way. I'm really excited, really excited. Vieve sent over their cream bronzer, their liquid blushes. I've used Vieve for a long time, since when the brand first launched, like a while ago. I have products that at this point are already discontinued. And back then it was mostly powder stuff, so I haven't tried any of their cream formulas, so I'm excited to delve into these. And yeah, we'll see where the look takes us in terms of like the lips and everything, but yeah, expect green eyeshadow today. Let's start with some bronzer. This one is the shade Light. It's the Modern Radiance Cream Bronzer. Really like the packaging, looks like a ton of product. And I like that it's a bronzer, at least looking at it in the pan, that's kind of not too warm. I find if you're on the fairer side, it can be nice to have an option that it's not like looking super orange. So anyway, let's see how this goes. Yeah, okay. This is just my favorite type of bronzer shade. It just blends so easily. It's almost like half a contour, half a bronzer. Has a little bit of fragrance to it. Not always a big fan of that. I mean, it's so subtle, but I like it. I've been into this brush lately for cream bronzer, like using it on its side. Ugh, if you see my arms and you're wondering like what the heck's going on, this is from Pole Fitness that I do. Doing a get ready with me on that soon, maybe a bit of a vlog too. So if you're wondering, it's really hot in here. I don't want to put on a sweater. There's bruises, okay. But what I like about this type of bronzer is that, or like this shade of bronzer, is that it blends really nicely with like a blush because you're not competing with too many different types of pigments. Now, I have two shades here of the Sunset Blush, Cherub and Rosa. Cherub Rosa. I think I'm going to use Rosa because it seems like it's a little bit more kind of peachy neutral. And just based on the look I'm doing today, I think that'll go nicely. Let's try a drop that big. Seems like a very sheer type of formula. Oh yeah, that's sheer. Very subtle. You know me, I like a pigmented blush. It's definitely great for anybody who likes to build up their blush a lot. Definitely very sheer. I do like the shade. I just wish it was maybe a little bit more pigmented. Just for the hell of it. Because it's like such a light blush shade, I'll put a little bit of Cherub, see if it's a little bit more pigmented, might blend nicely. Yeah, that is a little bit more to it. And the finish of these both seem to be a little bit on the dewy side, which looks great right now, not too much. So I'm just gonna powder right at the center of my face. I don't want to get rid of that right now. I'm having a good skin day and that type of reflect and balminess is looking good on me today, in my opinion. For now, let's skip the highlighter. I just want to get into the eyes. So the first shade I'm going to lay down actually is this one here, Girl Dinner, just to provide a nice bright base and something for the powders to grip onto. I haven't yet powdered or set the concealer on my eyelids yet. So just a bright base. I'm going to start with this shade, the medium green shade that is called Subscribe. If you want to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to start that on the outer part of the eye. It's actually a pretty rich green now that I'm laying it down. I have used it before, but I kind of forgot. So first just like getting the pigment into the like crease and the eyelid, and then using the same brush I put the first shade on and blending it out. I find these kinds of olivey green shades fairly wearable actually. They don't feel too overwhelming. And that's likely because I do have a slight olive undertone I've talked about a lot before. There's a bit of green in my skin tone. So yeah, these kinds of shades I find just like really wearable and almost neutral. Now I'm gonna see how this green from the Melt Cosmetics palettes pairs with this. This is the shade Space Queen. And this is like a lot cooler, like kind of leaning into a little bit of that blue. You know what? Is this too blue? No. There was this test I saw on the internet like the other day of what you consider like blue versus green because there's like such a crossover between them. Apparently I see the world more green than I do blue, but that's why people will have like disagreements about if a shade is like blue or green. So I'm just like pressing this in to add some depth and just kind of like seeing how it plays with this olivey green. And I think it works. This palette in and of itself like has that kind of like warmer greens and then cooler greens. So I'm just gonna like get that depth in there and then go right back and pick up some more of that olive shade. Just blend. Before I get too far into just like blending these mattes, I'm gonna start to lay down some shimmers. First, I'm gonna put on Mean Green. This one here. I guess that answers our question. These are definitely still greens. And Melt shimmers are notoriously kind of like dark, more like metallic. So I don't want to put this all over the whole lid. I still want to keep some openness in this area. So I'm just going to place this right here in this section that's between those two mattes. And I'm not being too precise with this either because I'm going to be layering another shimmer with this. That's a really pretty shade of green. It reminds me of like Christmas trees or something. And then let's try this sparkly green from the Glam palette called Engagement. Sorry, I don't know why I'm singing. Apparently I'm in a good mood today. And let's put that more like here. Ooh, now that is a bright shimmer. You can really see kind of the difference between these formulas. Like there's so much kind of white base to the Glaminatrix one. It's just like brightening versus the other one being very darkening. I'm gonna go back in the first shimmer and get the blend between the two a little bit more. I didn't even mean for this to be this sparkly. Oh. I'm taking that olive green and using it to create a bit of a perimeter around this shimmer. Now there's this shade from the Emerald Obsessions palette that I really like using this one for an inner corner for a green makeup look. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. It's just nice to have something bright but still in the green color story. I'm gonna take that light green and bring it like along the lower lash line. I'm squinting my eyes because of any kind of kick up of the powder, because it's such a lighter shade. I can use this kind of bigger brush to do it without worrying too much. And then I want to marry that sort of cooler green with a warmer green and go in with this shade here, Scrunchy, from the Glaminatrix palette. Whenever I read that word scrunchy, I just think of that episode of Sex and the City and Carrie Bradshaw going, a scrunchy! If anybody knows that, comment down below. You have to be a true stan to know that. I'm really liking this kind of play of warm and cool greens. And it goes to show you how green is one of those shades, like depending on your undertone, you can play with it either on the cool spectrum or the warm spectrum. And then I think I'd like to darken that lower lash line just a bit more on the edges. So I'm gonna go in with Hull on the bottom here, which is the deepest green from the Glaminatrix. And just connecting it to like the shadow at the outer part of the eye on top. Going in with a scrunchie again, and bringing this on the border of the eye look a little bit higher. And that's really basically it, with the exception of just like a little touches on the blend. I'm gonna take this pencil from Makeup Forever Limitless Brown and just really carefully tight line the upper lash line. If you start to become pretty interested in makeup, you'll really start to notice when you apply eyeshadow. I mean, I suppose this depends on your eye shape, but there'll be this tiny kind of gap where you're still seeing like your skin kind of coming through, and just really wedging shadow or liner up in there can just be that difference between making it feel a little bit more put together. It's not really the upper waterline, it's more like getting it between the actual lashes. I really need to get some colored waterline pencils. I had a few from ColourPop a while ago. I don't know where they went. Into a deep dark drawer, I think, but like a bright teal would be really cool on the lower waterline. I'll just settle for the classic white that I always use, or should I put Limitless Brown in the waterline? Let's do brown. Let's keep it kind of foresty. So this same pencil, I'm gonna get that in this waterline. I'm gonna pop off camera and do my lashes, which always brings the look together. So I'll just be one moment. Okay, for lips, I'm thinking of keeping it like a medium-ish brown, pretty neutral. So first I'm gonna go in with Rare Beauty Wise. Just such a great formula too. Easy to use, lasts a while. And then Vieve also sent over one of these satin slip lipsticks in the shade Kink. Ooh, I accidentally closed it. Funny, that's okay. But let's just try that one. When I first tried this shade, I didn't have any other makeup on and it did not go with my coloring nicely, but now that I have all this other makeup on, yeah, I feel like that suits this. These are both kind of like mauvey browns, like browns with a touch of like purple in it. Like, how weird would it be to add just like a dollop of orange in this? Weird or a good idea? Let's try. It's like, not bad. I feel like that just kind of added just like a touch of vibrancy and like kind of tying the cheek into it. Okay, and this is the finished makeup look. I think this fun play of like cool and warm greens, definitely on the glam side. I know a lot of people like to see people with red hair with greens. I think I want to get some more green clothing one day, like a silky green dress. I've still never really found anything like that I've found worked for me. I have literally no green in my closet. So I'll have to do with some green eyeshadow to have some fun with that color. In terms of all the other products I used, well, I've definitely been loving that Glaminatrix palette the past couple weeks. All the shades in it have just been so great for fall inspiration. I am really, really impressed with this bronzer, just the formula and the shade for my complexion. I'm really, really happy with this. The blushes, a bit less so, just for my personal taste. They're just a little bit light, but they will have a time and a place for certain makeup looks. Like, I do think this suits the little bit more of a subdued blush, like nothing super vibrant. So there is that. The formula is really nice though. It has like this nice kind of dewiness to it that isn't too tacky. It hasn't remained like super sticky or slidey, which is a pet peeve of mine. And I didn't really feel the need to put any highlighter on just because you get that natural glow with it. So based on your makeup taste, that might be something really up your alley. And yeah, I think it might be cool actually to combine it with a really vivid blush, like the Rare Beauty liquid blush, to subdue it. Okay, yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to try because the Rare Beauty is like so pigmented. It's like the opposite. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that's it for today. Toasty, let's take it away. Thank you so much for watching our channel until the end. Definitely taking any kind of makeup requests you may have down below. Yeah, love to hear what you guys want to see from me. And until next time, may you all find yourselves a little bit of makeup magic, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye, witches.